Hello and welcome to Dream It, Dare It, Do It, Live the Life You Want. This is Jasmine. Yes, me again. I am your host for this amazing conversation about living the life that we want. And today I have Derrick Mason. Mason, right? Hi, Derrick.
Hi, Jasmine.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, I'm doing well. Doing well, thank you. It's the end of a day today, but over in England, but yeah, always lively to talk to you, Jasmine.
Yeah, so everybody, I've invited Derrick to come and chat with us because, well, with us, I'm talking about the listeners. It's all us. I've invited Derrick to come and chat because I've seen him around the community, and now we're doing a project with the Three Principles Global Community, and Derrick and I have been crossing paths, and I was like, let's talk. So that's why I invited him, and he was nice enough to say yes. And so Derrick works with many things. He's been a busy man the past few years. And one of the things we can see on his name, when you look at the Zoom link, we can see at the bottom, it says Derrick Mason, Beyond Recovery. So just for the purpose of our listeners, can you talk a little bit about, what is Beyond Recovery?
Yeah, sure, Jasmine. Beyond Recovery is a not-for-profit organization that works primarily within the criminal justice system. So basically going into prisons and trying to share a bit of this understanding. It was founded by a lady called Jacqueline Hollows, who got this understanding about 8 years ago. And then it just occurred to her to bring this understanding into prisons where people might sort of need it.
Yeah.
And then she was going into prisons. I think she first went into prisons in 2015. And then I went into prison and started a sentence in 2016.
Okay.
Which is where I came into contact with Beyond Recovery, where, like I said, I was a serving prisoner. Beyond Recovery was doing well-being workshops, and somebody saw me and said, yeah, you should go on that thing, it'd be good for you, and it's changed my life, and I think it will change your life. And I just thought, yeah, all right, whatever. But then somebody said that it will get me a DCAT, or it will get me into a better prison if I went to all those sort of classes and those sort of workshops. It sort of just shows that you're trying to show willing to change.
Yeah.
So I thought, yep, I'll have some of that. So then I went on the course, and yeah, it profoundly impacted me and changed my life, and showed me how to look at my life and see all the choices that I'd made. I'd always blamed outside of me, or something outside of me was always the reason. But
What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing that's like changed for you? Because like we talked off camera, and you were telling me that you were like, okay, I saw myself differently. Like, but what's the biggest thing that you saw that was like when I started listening to this, like for me it was, oh, it's my thoughts, like, and I still do it. I still go, it's my thoughts. I still do that. But what was one of yours like?
And you just sparked something there in me, Jasmine, again, because it's the same related to all my thoughts, but the life that I had lived, or the life that I had chosen, or the life that I had been through, I've seen it as a hard life, and I'd made the decisions that I'd had to make in that sort of situation. But then realizing that it was all fault, and I did have an option in all of that. And the situation that I was in at the time, it did come down to me, and it never come with a guilty feeling of, oh, it's all my fault and I should have done. It came with a feeling of, if it's all down to me, then I can make the change right now. And if I can make the change right now, then basically I can do and be anything I want to be. And don't ask me how I was going to achieve this. Don't ask me what it looked like, what this even looked like. It just came with a feeling that I just knew that I could be anything I wanted to be, and the past didn't directly have to define who I was, which is something always dragged with me, that what I'd done in the past had to say a bit about how I showed up now, or I'll judge myself, or I'll see other people judging me. And just knowing that, yeah, I can show up in this moment, brand new, and however I do show up, that's okay. And that was a big thing for me, Jasmine.
So however you show up, it's okay was a big thing for you. I actually love that. I do love that. I have to admit that there's that stress for me too. Like even today, but I see it quicker now. Like, like sometimes I was just having a conversation with somebody, and I was like, I saw that, people hire me for me. Like first of all, I don't have a website. And when I talk to people, I just talk to people and I say, okay, we can do that. I just tell them what I see. I'm like, okay, you want this? Okay, we can do it this way. We can do it this way. Like I just do me. But then sometimes when I get hired, I try to do something other than me. And then I have to like switch back and come back and go, wait, no, that's not what you were hired for. You were not hired to be whoever this other person you think is better than you. You were hired to be you.
Yeah, and that speaks to what something I was seeing all my life, is looking outwardly, seeing things outwardly and thinking I need to be that, or I need to try to obtain that. But knowing that however I show up, it's always okay. It's always okay. But when I know that I am good enough in myself, and the roller coaster of thinking that I need to be something else, that's just part of the roller coaster. It's not about always being in that space where I know who I am and I know what my mission is and I know I'm going to be happy and I know. And it's about up and down and just accepting that as well. That's why I speak to just knowing that you're okay, no matter where you are on that scale. Always knowing that you're okay.
Yeah, we're okay no matter what we're thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. So now you work with the prison system, like in the prison system. So now you were there, you got out, and now you're going back to help them.
Yeah. And like I said before, when I first got my insight, I saw something called I saw unlimited potential, where I saw I could sort of be anything I wanted to be. And I was sort of saying that, like, at that moment, that just looked like me coming out and not committing crime and trying to be a better father and trying to be a better partner. But to truly go back inside prison and see the way people look at me and look up to me, and they see me as that unlimited potential. Because they was like, what, you used to be in there? And I was like, yeah, I used to. And they're like, wow, how did you come? And I don't even really know. I'm just showing up. And step by step, now I find myself back in prison facilitating, impacting people. And yeah, even when you mention it now, like the first time I went in was it still blows me away to know that that's something. Because I remember thinking when I was in there, I could never come back in prison. I could never come back into prison and facilitate. I could never do this. So to actually be in that situation, and I didn't plan it. I didn't come out and say, right, my plan is to get back into prison. I came out and I just tried to live every moment from that same space, from that same feeling. And the opportunity just came my way. And like I said, when I went back in and can inspire people or be that potential for people to see, then again, just showed me that I was in exactly the right place.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this question, but I figured I'm going to ask anyways. So how long were you there?
This last sentence I've done, I was there for 2.5 years.
Wow.
2.5 years. And yeah, that was my longest sentence I've ever done, that time I've done in prison. And yeah, 2.5 years. It was a while.
So from the time that I'm just fascinating, I don't know if this is going to be boring to people, but from the time that you came in to the time you met Jacqueline, Like how much time was there?
1 year.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. So you had a major impact. Like people are telling you go there and you're like, whatever. And then you go and there was a major impact. That's so cool. I'm so happy for you. And so how much, like, how many times have you seen it since now in other guys? Or are there any women in those prisons too?
No women, but we've been back into women's prisons and facilitated. But
Okay.
yeah, we've seen it in so many guys. Like how I turned up there, I showed up wanting to tick a box. So there's guys that then sometimes they turn up and they hear the language that we use and they start saying, "Oh yeah, it's all you're thinking," and you're looking and you're saying, "Oh yeah," you can see that they're just trying to intellectualize it, and then they'll toddle off to their cells, and then they'll come back in the next day. Their face is different. They'll be like, "Oh my God, that thing that you said about this and that, I realized it," and it's like the most beautiful gift to when you see they light up and they realize that they're whole as well. That they're
I
not.
get choked up just hearing about it. Imagine seeing it.
It's such a beauty, and you know that I was one of those as well. And for me, the big thing is to know that I wasn't broken. Because you imagine to be in that place there, I had a low opinion of myself for being in there in the first place, and then living that sort of life. And why am I living that? Like, oh yeah, because I have to. So oh yeah, that must mean that just confirms I'm broken. And just knowing that I sort of broke that cycle or saw through that cycle, then I'm able to go back in and help one other person see that and break that cycle. And that to me, like I said, I just knew I was in the right place. And to see that replicated outside of prison as well, like people outside of prison are showing that they're broken or because of this situation. And now I can see the resemblance and the similarities. Whereas before I could only see a separation. Like, oh, that story is different from mine. You need to hear my story. But now
Yeah.
I can see that all the same. It's all the same. It's just all the same.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see that, you know, the thought we believe generates a whole bunch of actions, right? So if the thought you believe is, this is how my life is going to be for the rest of my life, so I might as well, right? Like it's just, I think that's what I love with Sydney Banks, how he said there's an innocence around it, right? It's totally innocent. Like if you believe that you're meant to live life like this, then of course you're going to go and do what you do, right? And that it's so powerful to be able to see that no, that's not true. It's just not true. Like if you can think something else or feel something else or look for something else, you're going to have totally different behavior, totally different actions, and your life is going to be totally different.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Jasmine. You're speaking to that newness there. That I got this thing where I say, well, when we think you got to go look past what we think we know. So all my life, I've sort of lived in this bubble of what I thought I knew, and I only have to go that way because that's the way that I know it. But then when you give that opportunity to see something new, and it's only of a fraction of a gap new, but that fraction of a gap takes you off in a totally different universe and brings so much different things into your life and so much richness, and just not limiting ourselves. And even our language that we use sometimes, we just automatically, innocently limit ourselves. But when we know that we can just look a little bit past that, and we don't have to look far past it. We're not talking about just a little bit past it, just a little bit at a time to know a little bit. I love as well, like when somebody proves me wrong or somebody shows me something that I never know. And all my life, I thought it like went like that. And it's like, you know, an analogy is like a song. You know, I've always sung a song with this lyrics. And one day someone said, it's not that. I'm like, of course it is. We stopped, we rewound it, we played it again. I was like, oh, wow. I thought it was that word. And then I just accept it. But all the time I thought it was that. But just to know there might be something else other than that, just be open to it. And yeah, it's beautiful discovering that for me all the time now.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's never ending. It's like, I've been in this conversation for years and I'm like still going, ah, ah. Like I still get amazed at it.
That is one of the most beautiful things about this understanding, the timeless nature in which, because I understood from I first got this understanding, I thought I cracked it. I thought I was going to be happy for the rest of my life, and the lows had gone, and I weren't going to be anxious anymore, and depression was out the window, and I was going to be this smart. But then I quickly realized
That's not the case.
it wasn't like that. It's about unpeeling those little uncomfortabilities, and when you unpeel them, you find some newness, like you said, and a freedom and a letting go, and then onto the next one, and then just the next one. Every time you reveal something, it's a never-ending gift. A never-ending. I've met people that have been in this understanding 30, 40 years and seen the twinkle in their eye of when they've seen something new and just know, wow, that's to come from me. I've only had this understanding like 5 years, but I know, yeah, that's to come from me. As long as it will never leave me. What I've seen, I could turn into a miserable old man, but I'll always see something past that and be able to move on from that. And that's just a gift that I'm with. And being able to see that in myself and see that in other people. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, because you saw yourself, right? So you saw yourself, but now that you see yourself, you also see other people totally differently. Yeah? Oops. Come here, baby. Come and see Derrick so you won't bark. So, yeah, so we totally see people totally differently also, right? That's like transformed for me. Because a lot of the times I remember, I would say, oh, I'm not going to talk to that person because that person's rude. And I'm not going to talk to that person because that person's needy. And I'm not going to talk to that person because, and now I'm just totally seeing how it's all made up. First of all, that's not true. And every time I talk to anybody, when I'm out of my head and I'm just in my heart, in the moment, there's nothing in the way and everybody's just great. Everybody's going through their own thing, right?
Yeah, and it's so beautiful when I love speaking to people like how I arrived at what you just said. I've felt that and I've arrived there as well. But if you would have told me that in order for me to do that, I need to understand myself. And then when I understand myself, then I understand them. And then when I understand them, I won't feel so about it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, no. You need to understand them. And so only when I truly found out that the essence of who I am and the innocence in which I'd stumbled my way through life, I can now see it in so many other places. And the actions are so different, but what's actually happening behind the scene and the thoughts, like you said, the thoughts, and when we buy into that thinking, I know that someone is standing in front of me, all they're doing is buying into their thinking as being real. And I just happen to be the person that's standing there in front of them. And at the time, if I can see that, but then even afterwards, I still know that I can see that. And it's okay for anyone to be where they're at. And just like you said, I would say, I could not talk to that person, that. I'd even hear somebody tell me about a person, and then I wouldn't speak to that person because of what that person thinks about that person. Got nothing to do with me, but I would still take it on board. But just to see the innocence in all of it.
Yeah.
That's what I see fosters real connection. Real connection.
So talk to me about Inside Alliance. What is the Inside Alliance?
I started doing some work with Inside Alliance recently this year with mentoring some of their people, and also because Inside Alliance, they're another organization based in the US, a not-for-profit that work within the criminal justice system.
Okay.
And they're 3 principles based. And yeah, I started mentoring some of their staff, and also they run online workshops in a US prison. So I help facilitate those workshops and speak to the prison residents. I think it's a young institute. They're like 18 to 24, and like I speak to them, and this is something else as well that resonates. Like, doesn't matter where you are in the world, somehow I can still speak to them and speak about my experience and what I've seen, and then they can talk about what they've seen and their experience. Behind the actions, it's all the same thing. And when they get to see that again, they get to see and understand that. And they sometimes they're teachers for me.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see that it can grow like that.
That's what Mavis was saying on the call the other day. She was like, she's your partner, right? On the chat? Yeah. She was like, I can't wait to talk to Derrick and see what he's going to teach me. I love Mavis too. So you guys are going to do a talk together at the 3P UK conference?
Yeah. We're going to do a talk together, but I'm talking with, her name escapes me now. I'm talking with Mavis Khan, and I spoke to her the other day about just to have a little get together and see. And I said, when I speak to someone like that, and just from that space, and like we're doing now, we never plan anything. We never say, right, this is what we're going to do, and we just show up. And then we show up from that space, then it just fosters a space that creates something beautiful. And I've listened to Mavis. I used to proper admire Mavis and look up to her, and then now I see myself talking with her, and she's saying like what you said about me, and it's like, wow, no pressure there.
Oh, she's so sweet. Her face lit up. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Derrick. It was so cool. And so when are you guys talking? What day are you talking?
The Tuesday.
The Tuesday?
Yeah, the last session on one of the last sessions on Tuesday.
Okay, so guys, if you guys are interested, the 3P UK conference is from the 11th, 12th, and the 13th of June. And the tickets are on sale right now. And Derrick and Mavis are going to be talking on the 13th. So for the people on the East Coast, well, it's like 6 hours before. So just that, like, if you check the website, I'm going to put the information about how to get tickets, and then people can actually maybe get to see what you guys talk about.
Yeah, and even I'm doing a talk on Sunday as well with Kathy Casey.
Oh, cool!
The opening talk. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So.
Yeah, Kathy Casey was one of my guests also. Guys, there's going to be a link somewhere here that's going to link you to the talk I had with Kathy Casey if you want to see a little bit more about that. Well, Derrick, this was great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. Always glad to share where I'm at, or what bit of my journey, and if it can help anyone to see something, or just lovely to share.
If anybody wants to reach out to you, like, where could they reach out to you?
We've got a website, Beyond Recovery, at beyondrecovery.co.uk, and then you can get in contact with us through there. And I'm always up for a talk or to speak.
I think you're on Facebook too, right?
Facebook as well, just Derrick Mason, and a new venture called Mindflow Academy, which will be coming soon, but that's something that I'm working on.
To be continued. Well, everybody, we're going to put the information in the description, and reach out to us if you guys have any questions, and we'll be happy to answer. And that's it. I want to say thank you again for accepting the invitation. And everybody else, I'm going to say, dream it, dare it, do it. Live the life that you want, because you're unlimited potential. Take care. Bye.